Hello there and welcome to a brand new lesson. This is Happy on Numbers, where we learn maths the easy way. By the end of this lesson, you should be able to explain what the subject of a formula is. You should be able to change subject by following the step-by-step processes I'll be giving you. And afterwards, you should also be able to use substitution to verify your answers. Without much ado, let's quickly look into it. When we talk of the subject of a formula, then it is the variable that stands alone on one side of the equation. So if you have an equation, you see, for an equation, we have the left-hand side and the right-hand side. So on both sides, we want the variable that stands alone. Let me write some equations or some formulas so we determine which is the subject of the equations. So if you have A equals LW, this is actually area. So area equals L times W. Which one is the subject? And we said the subject is the variable that stands alone. If you look at the right-hand side, there are two variables there. L is not standing on alone, and W is also not standing alone. It's A that stands alone. Hence, A is the subject of this formula. If we take this other formula too, that is the formula for perimeter, which is P equals 2L plus 2B. You realize that our L here has a coefficient of 2. B also have a coefficient of 2. Hence, they are not standing alone. But then the P, on the other hand, it's standing alone on the left-hand side. So we can say P is the subject of this formula. Now, if we know what it means to say a variable is the subject of a formula, what then does it mean to change the subject of the formula? Changing subject simply means you are rearranging the formula so that different variable will stand alone. For instance, if I take A equals L times W, now I want to rearrange it so that L stands alone, but not A or W. If you go through the process, you are going to get L being equal to A over W. We will go through how to do it very soon. This simply means I have made L the subject. If I was to make W the subject as well, then W would then be equal to A over L. You see, so we are not solving, but then we're actually rearranging the variables. What are the steps needed for us to change subject? So when it comes to changing subject, we have three, or let me say 4 main steps we would want to follow. So here are the steps. First of all, you need to identify the new subject. So let's say if you have A being equal to L times W, then identify what you want to become your new subject. So let's say if I want L, which is the length, to be my new subject. After identifying it, we remove the terms one step at a time. So if I have identified L, then I have to remove W. If there are more terms, such as your P being equal to 2L plus 2B, and we want to make L the subject, then we will need to move the other terms. And by the other terms, we mean you would move this term, then come and move the 2 as well. So you remove the terms one step at a time, and then you do so by using the inverse operations. We do so by using the inverse operations, after which we write the new formula clearly. So we will solve some basic examples so you understand this whole concept. But then right before that, let me take you through the inverse operations. When it comes to changing of subject, there is one concept that you really need to grasp. That is the inverse operation. So we can talk of changing of subject as a rescue mission. You are rather trying to get the target variable alone by removing all the obstacles that are around it. So to remove these obstacles to the other side of the equal sign, you must use the reverse operation. So reverse operation are simply the operations that will undo a particular operation. So here are some reverse operations you need to take note of. So talking of the inverse operations, if the current operation is addition, then to undo addition, you use subtraction. The same way, if the current operation is subtraction, to undo what it has done, you use what? Addition. That of multiplication is division, and that of division is multiplication. So let's pick some examples and we see how we can apply these methods. So to practice and enhance our understanding, let's take this example here. It says make R the subject of D equals 2R. So we have D, which is equal to 2R. Making R the subject means we want R to stand on its own. You see, so we are on a rescue mission to rescue R. All other distractions should move away. Now, what we can consider a distraction here is 2. So we need to take off 2. You realize that what the operation between 2 and then R is multiplication. And we said the inverse operation of multiplication is what? It is division. So if you want to take off this, which is multiplying R, then we have to divide it by the same quantity. Take note, whenever you are using the inverse operation, you do the same thing to both the right hand side and the left hand side. To the right hand side and then the left hand side. That simply means if I want to divide this side by 2, I would have to come in and divide this side also by 2. So that by so doing, this 2 cancels out this 2, that is, it divides it. And then there is nothing to cancel here. Hence, we have D over 2, which would be equal to R. Now, as you can see, R is standing on its own. You see, so it simply implies that our R is equal to what? D over 2. As simple as that. We have made R the subject. So I hope you see how simple it is. There's another example, and let's look at how we can go about it. It says we have to make T the subject of, we have V is equal to D over T. Now for this time around, our T is a denominator. So how do we make T the subject? Anytime you have an equation that involves a fraction in this form, you'd have to make it linear. By making it linear, I simply mean you multiply each and every term by the LCM of the denominators. So you take note that this one has a denominator of 1, and then this, on the other hand, the denominator is T. Hence, for 1 and then T, the LCM is T. So we are going to multiply each and every term, as I said, by T. So that we have V times T equals D over T, then times your T. Now, if you're able to do that, you realize that this T here cancels out this T. So that you'd be left with your V T, which is equal to D. By so doing, you have been able to make D the subject because it is D that is now standing on its own. On the other hand, V is being multiplied by T. But it is the T we want to stand on its own. So the relationship here is multiplication. Hence, the inverse operation is going to be division. Division by what? The obstacle now is our V. So division by V. And since you are doing that for the left-hand side, you have to do the same thing also for this other side. And with that, you can simply say this V cancels out this V. And what will we be left with? We'll be left with our T. So we have T, which is equal to D over V. And that is all. That is all for this case. Now, depending on how well you understand it, your algebra, you can even use just 2 lines to solve this question here. So that if you have v equals d over t, all you are going to do is to multiply both sides by t over v. So I'm going to multiply this side also by t over v. And by so doing, if we want to cancel out, we can say this t cancels out this t, and this v also cancels out this v. If you have to simplify, we have t multiplying. You see, everything is cancelled here, so that is 1. So we have our t being equal to, we have d times 1, which is d, then 1 times v, which is our v, which is the same as what we had over here. So as you keep solving, you'll get to understand the inverse operation properly, and you'll be able to reduce the number of steps you are using to solve your questions. Now, all that we have done so far involves multiplication. Let's look at others that will also involve addition and subtraction. So in this third example here, we have y equals mx plus c. And if you are familiar with lines, then you should know that this is the equation of a line. We have to make m the subject, that is the gradient. So if we have y equals mx plus a c, and we want to make m the subject, m is what? M is our target. X and then c are our obstacles. So they are the variables we want to move to the other side. Now we can easily move the c. Why? Because it is adding. So on our first step, we say y, then instead of c, we bring it to the other side. So it becomes minus c. In actual sense, this is what we are doing. So we are subtracting c from both sides. Remember, as I said, anything you do to the left-hand side, you do the same to the right-hand side. So if you are subtracting c from here, then we need to do the same thing also on the left-hand side. So that we have our y minus c equals mx. C minus c gives us a 0. Now in this case now, we have mx. And what is happening here? There is a multiplication operation in between the m and then x. And we said when there's multiplication, what do? If we want to move it, we use division. Hence, we would have to divide both sides by the obstacle. In this case, the obstacle now is x. So divided by x, and do same for this side. So that our x cancels out the x. So that what do we have? We have m being equal to y minus c, then over the x. And that is, you have made m the subject. That is all. So as you can see, in this case, there was addition. And we had to move that using the inverse operation, which is what? Subtraction. Then afterwards, we'll divide both sides by the x, which is the multiplication between m and then x. So that the m now comes to stand on its own. These are the basic equations you can be asked to find or make a variable the subject. We'll end this here, and as usual, I'll leave with some exercises so you try on your own. In our subsequent lesson, we'll look at more advanced ones. So here are 6 formulas I would like you to make the variables indicated here the subject. For the first one, you're making a the subject. The second, you're making y. The third, m, followed by d, v, and then v. You follow the same procedure. These are just the basic ones. To try as much as possible, then do them so that you enhance your understanding. See you in our next lesson. If this is your first time on this channel and you so do wish, you can choose to subscribe so that anytime I release a video, you can be notified as well. Bye, and then stay safe.